Welcome to the Grateful American series, an interactive multimedia program designed to restore enthusiasm in American history for kids and adults too. Creator of this series is David Bruce Smith, an author and publisher here in Washington, D.C. I'm Hope Katz-Gibbs, your co-host, founder of Incandescent Public Relations and Incandescent TV. The Turning Point Suffragist Memorial Association is dedicated to honoring the suffragists who fought for and won the women's right to vote. Its vision is to raise awareness and funds to create a memorial that will reflect the strength of these women and the significance of their struggle. In partnership with Northern Virginia Parks, the memorial will be located near the spot where women were imprisoned in South Fairfax County, Virginia. The goal is to raise funds to complete construction and have the National Memorial fully operating by 2020, which is the 100th anniversary of the 19th Amendment, which recognized women's right to vote. The garden-style National Memorial will commemorate the suffragist struggle and educate, inspire, and empower present and future generations to remain vigilant in the quest for equal rights. So we are thrilled to be here today with Pat Worth, the new executive director, and historian Edie Mayo to talk about this fascinating project. Welcome to the Grateful American Radio Show, ladies.
Thank you.
I'm Hope Katz-Gibbs, your co-host of the Grateful American Radio Show, along with David Bruce Smith, founder of the Grateful American Foundation, here in his beautiful offices in Washington, D.C. So let's give our audience a little bit of background on the both of you. So, Edie, you are a historian and an expert on this topic. So tell us a little bit about you and how you came to be involved with this group.
Well, I came to be involved because I attended one of their award dinners, and at that point, people said, "Oh, are you retired?" And I said, "Yes, more or less." And so they said, "Well, we have a new activity for you. We wanted to build a fitting monument to these women who spent their lives giving, to this cause of trying to get women the right to vote." So I couldn't say no.
Makes sense. And Pat, how did you get involved with this?
I had been in the automotive service industry for over 30 years, and I had sold my business. And so I was actually working with some other nonprofits at the time, and they just kind of grabbed me.
Amazing. And you, Edie, you've been a historian for a long time at the Smithsonian and other places.
Correct.
Is that correct? Mm-hmm. So what we'd love for you to tell us is, can you paint a picture for people that don't know about this movement? Take us back to the 1800s and tell us where we've come. Pat, you've alluded a lot to it in the conversation so far, but I'd like to just paint the picture so that we can have a really firm foundation.
Well, in 1848, when the first Women's Rights Convention was called, it was called because a lot of the leaders of that movement got their training, if you will, in the abolitionist movement. So freeing the slaves and getting rights for African Americans. And as they were working in those organizations, they began to see a connection between the status of the slaves and the status of women. Now, today that sounds a little bizarre to us, but at the time, women could not vote or participate in the greatest democracy in the world. They had no rights to their own children. The children were considered the property, if you will, of the husband.
This is the founding mothers.
They could not keep their own wages if they worked. If their husband wanted to take their wages, he could. They had very little redress in the courts. And so you begin to see all these legal discriminations that women suffered that they wanted to remedy, and they thought the most important of these rights was the right to vote, participate in the democracy.
So it strikes me there's something ironic here. Women get the right to vote in 1920?
Correct.
Okay. Yeah, there was a CNN poll that said that in 2008, 65.7% of women voted. How would they feel about that statistic?
How would the suffrage women feel about it? I think they would be outraged and disappointed.
Right.
Because I think they would feel that their sacrifices, their work, their life commitment was maybe
Somehow-
not even known.
Somehow diluted.
Exactly. That they worked so hard to get women the right to vote that women ought to be smart enough to take advantage of it.
So how is this being framed, the memorial to be framed to the public, and how is the word getting out?
Well, we are expanding our reach as far as educating the population about the suffragist movement because it is pretty well kept secret. Unfortunately, this was not a part of history that was in our textbooks when we went to school. So a lot of people don't know the whole story. A lot of people don't realize that there were thousands and thousands of women from every state in the country who fought to get suffrage, and that movement lasted for 72 years.
So let's talk a little bit about the plight of the woman. Pat, you have been a woman in a man's world in the auto industry for decades. You have broken down barriers, but you still must understand that it's not easy, despite the fact that what do you say, you're from New Jersey and you're Italian and you take no prisoners. I love that. I'll let you say that yourself. So what do you think is going on with women in the country and dealing with challenges?
I think that, it's like AA. You take it one day at a time. I mean, you have to, look at what the circumstances are, look at who the people are that are involved, and you work with what you've got before you. But our goal is to establish a Turning Point Institute, which will provide programming to young girls, middle school, and this is our thinking right now, middle school to high school. And we want to provide them with training in things like leadership, political candidacy, public speaking, civil rights, social responsibility, the whole gamut. We would like to see our institute provide a turning point in their lives to be successful in whatever life choices that they make.
All right, so what's next for you guys?
I am going to foundations. I am going to, large organizations that, hopefully can then do the trickle down with their members as we educate them about the project. It's just never ending. I mean, the letters go out, the contacts are made, the conversations, the meetings. I mean, this is just an ongoing thing. This is what I spend like 24/7 doing. I mean, this is what we do to try to do this.
One of the things that I found when I worked at the political history division of the Smithsonian for my entire adult life. And one of the things that I found when you ask the general public what they know about this, they know nothing. They take it so much for granted that they don't even think about how did the right to vote come about for different groups. And one of the last groups that it came about for was women. Right. And that was because women were thought to be in the home, and the politics was outside the home. It was the male realm. And so it took a lot of education or re-education, perhaps, of both men and women to be able to accept women in a public role rather than in a private role.
Right, makes perfect sense. And you guys are on
And
the
so
same flight, right?
one of the things that we really need to do is to educate the general public, who, as Pat said, gets one paragraph in a history textbook about how women did get the right to vote.
And that's what we can help you with. While we can't help you raise
really
funds, we can help you spread the word.
Yes, you can.
And we can encourage people to check out www.suffragistmemorial.org and learn more about what Pat and Edie and all the other women are trying to do to help raise the funds for this memorial and educate us even further. So we are here with Pat Worth, Executive Director of the Turning Point Suffragist Memorial Association, and historian Edie Mayo. I'm Hope Katz-Gibbs with the Grateful American Foundation with founder David Bruce Smith. We thank you very much for listening to the Grateful American Radio Show, and we look forward to talking to you some more.
Thank you.